First thing we're going to talk about is something everyone in here already said that they have felt, which is FOMO. So, Tanner, since you were speaking first, I'm going to have you kick us off here. You didn't really touch on FOMO too much in the presentation. Can you give tactical advice on this first question of how you handle FOMO? First, as a trader, and then as a coach. So as a trader, when you feel FOMO, how do you react?
So when I see my setup go without me and I get FOMO, the first thing I look at is number one, location. Can I still get involved? Does it logically make sense for me still to get involved? Maybe a little chased, it really depends how far gone it is, obviously. But I look at the risk, and that's why, I showed you guys earlier today too, how I look at risk, and I look at those really tight structures, because if it is a little far gone past my entry, I can still get involved and just lower my size, right? So it's like I accept that risk and I widen my stop so I can still potentially get involved. If it is so far gone, I just know, and you all know too, right when you go long, it's going to reverse. Every time you're like, okay, well, no, okay, it's still going.
Especially after it's already moved and you say to yourself, it's kind of high right now.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. And so this is something where I like to look at how far have we gone to where are we potentially going? And it's not a set specific number, because obviously the markets can do whatever they want whenever they want. But if NQ's already ripped 150 points from my entry, I'm going to go, Tanner, you're going to get screwed. Don't do that. Don't do that. So taking a step back and logically trying to walk myself through it. Like I said, I like to talk to myself a lot when I'm trading. People are you would think I'm nuts, because I'm like, all right, Tanner, no, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you. So actually trying to take a step back. One thing I got from one of my mentors that helped me a lot is, if you do get in a trade and you're just incorrect right away, you try to actually physically take a step back from your desk and you go, okay, is my read wrong? Is my read wrong? So,
and even that, the act of looking, stepping back physically, helps a lot. I like that. Let's go tactics. Isaac, you want to go? Any tactics on handling FOMO? You're in Tanner's position. You see a trade. You went to take a shit. You missed the entry. You're like, oh my God, dude, this is my setup and I missed it. The dog shit on the floor, I have to go clean it up, and I missed the trade. What's a tactic for handling that other than getting up and walking away? Turn that on. Yeah. Click that up.
Testing 1, 2. All right, we're good. So even if I had to take a shit, I wouldn't miss the trade per se, because I always let the market come to me, right? I set my limit orders exactly where I want to get in.
Hold that mic close.
Yep. Before I actually get into a position, I have my limit orders set. If I'm on Tradeovate, then I can see my exits on both sides, right? Because everybody's always prepared on where and when to get in, but no one really puts in the work on when to get out when you're wrong, when to get out when you're right. I have all of that predetermined before I even enter a position. That way there's really no surprises unless something hits the wire. So if I miss an entry, it's not because I didn't have a limit order placed, it's I didn't have it placed in the right place, right? So there's usually two thoughts or two different types of emotions that I experience when that happens. It's either a good one, because it's just like, okay, I was right, I just didn't get to participate. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should commend yourself when you're just like, okay, what I expected or anticipated happened, however, the bus left without me, right? And that's okay. But then there's instances where it's just like you got to reflect on, okay, why did I miss this? Was I being too cheap, right? Was I trying to get too good of an entry that I just put myself out of the play zone? Or was there something else at play that maybe I didn't observe? Or was there something that changed after I placed my limit order that did not allow me to participate? And then those are your opportunities to learn from that. But I never have FOMO, right? Because there's sometimes the best trade is the one you didn't take or the one you didn't get in. It's real easy to get upset when you see it work out, right? But if I had gotten filled and it had went against me and I had taken a loser, right, then that's a whole other set of emotions. You would have been like, thank you,
dog, for pooping on the floor.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Joey.
So.
Yeah, I would say for me, I always ask myself, what's the rush? Why am I really in a hurry, right? If I miss a move, and I'm feeling FOMO, what's the root of that? Why am I feeling FOMO? Number one answer is I want to make money, and a setup happened, price is moving in the way I thought it was going to go, and I'm afraid and I'm kind of pissed off that I'm not in it and I'm not making money, right? So the root cause of that is you're not making money. Now, you also have to understand that the market always provides opportunities. This is not going to be the only opportunity that you see in that day, or if it is, so be it. You have tomorrow, right? One single trade, yet alone one single day, isn't going to dictate your entire week, right? And so understanding that, just taking the step back, I'm not in a hurry. I know there's going to be another opportunity is the most important part of that.
All right, Ev, let me go to you. We trade together. Great answer, Joey. All of you. We trade together every day, Evan. So a trade happens. What's the first thought in your head when it moves without you?
Fuck.
Exactly. Okay. It's funny, but I knew he would say that. How do we fix the internal self-talk like that? Because I think it starts there. When you go, fuck, I missed it, and that was mine. I think we have to assess that self-talk of, fuck, it was mine. It was my move. That's my setup. Is it? Thoughts?
Well, I think it comes down to knowing your own plan. Let's just pretend it presents 3 times in a day. That sometimes you can say, fuck, like that was one of the opportunities. I didn't maximize on it. How many more entries am I going to get today? That could have been the only one. Obviously, that's not the way we trade with the VWAP, at least. There's plenty of these opportunities that I think it's a matter of knowing what you don't do well, more importantly, that I know, like what Tanner was saying, if you jump in too late and it's just a point of drawdown, you're going to start questioning yourself, want to pull it out early. You know I shouldn't have been in this. I jumped in late. That's how it quickly spirals. So it's not worth it for me to jump in and risk that tilt that could just, from one candle. That if I know the market can come to me slowly, and if I could take it, I'll be able to perform better because I was calm when I did it. FOMO is so quick that you're feeling like it's moving every second without you. You have to decide right now. But it's not. Let the next trade come back to you. That way you can just probably perform it better and execute it better. But if you're operating from FOMO, then you're really probably more likely to screw up when you're in the trade, even though it might have won, but you executed it mid-trade, pulled it early, oversized, got back in again, and then, fuck, I tilted again just because I couldn't wait for the next move to present in 20 minutes. So you got to think 30 minutes from now, is this really going to rip all day without me? Probably not. I could just game plan. What do I need to see next? I missed this plan. Fuck. What do I need to see next to get involved into the next move so I don't miss that one? Because why did I miss that one? Maybe I was off the desk, but if you're, like Isaac was saying, overthinking it, trying to be too smart, well, then reflect on that. Why didn't I take that setup? If you were watching it and you missed it, that could be a problem. But then just game plan the next one. There's going to be 100 trades a day, a week, a month. This next one, you're not even going to remember it. So you don't need to chase this one because it's not going to be your end-all, be-all. There'll be another trade in an hour.
How many times have we felt FOMO? Maybe you guys can relate. You feel it. You're like, oh, it's happening without me. And then you do take the break that one day. You're like, you know what? All the guys that are the trading coaches, they say take a break when I feel the FOMO. So today I'm going to get up and take the break. And it actually works. And then you come back and find a sick trade. How rewarding is that? You did what you were supposed to do and you got paid. I believe the market has I always joke it's like the universe inside the market. It has it feels energy. When you're breaking the rules, the market knows. And what's she going to do to you? Slap this shit out of you. When you follow the rules, like an example would be you're in a winning trade, it turns against you, goes into drawdown, doesn't hit stop loss, comes back to entry. It's not working. And you cut a piece of it like you're supposed to do, that trade ends up going back the way you're supposed to. Or you double down or you hold it, guaranteed stop loss. The market knows. So I think you have to come into it from a perspective of being humble almost to the market to avoid FOMO. Respecting the market, knowing that walking away, like these guys are saying, and creating space can literally save you thousands of dollars that day, hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career. Let's talk for a second, unless you guys have anything else for FOMO. Any questions on FOMO? Any thoughts? Anyone struggling with FOMO every day and you want to talk about it? Yeah, that would be, I'm sure everybody would raise their hand for that one.
I'll just add one more thing. For people that trade with others, as most of us are in a community or even on a live stream, just because someone else is in the trade, I do not care because 1, they don't know it's going to be a winner. 2, if I don't know exactly who they are or why they're in it, I can't say that I should be in it just because they're in it. They don't know where it's going. They look at different levels. They're looking at a different asset. He's using Bookmap. Well, that's not part of my plan, so I can't.
You can't even read.
No, I really can't. That there's so many times where they're saying, oh, there's a view up in your way. I don't use that one, so you might be right. It could be valid. It could hurt my trade, but I don't weigh that in my plan currently, so you're not going to talk me out of what I'm seeing right now. I still need to do what I follow. And then maybe if it burns me enough times, I'll say, you know what, that VWAP just keeps making me lose. I'll add it into my plan.
We'll pick on that because now I guarantee someone here is thinking, where'd you get that level of stubbornness and confidence to not get distracted when I'm in a trade or when Isaac, someone else in the chat is in a trade? How do you stay locked in of I don't care?
I don't know why they're in. and I don't know what they're doing to get in or when they're looking to get out. So I can't be relying on someone else to feed me my success. I mean, you want to learn from everyone of, hey, Isaac, why'd you get in that trade? And why'd you get out there and not hold it a little bit longer? So then if you start to understand why he's in the trade, then you could belong in that trade next time. But for each time that someone just jumps into a level, I know, well, it might win. There's plenty of times on stream where someone says they're taking a trade, and I'm like, yeah, I think it probably goes higher.
Me.
But it's just not my setup that I'm like, well, if it loses, I'll feel like a jackass just because I jumped in because Austin got in. Because I mean, he's not going to take responsibility for my actions.
No.
That it's like, okay, yeah, he got in for different reasons. He's got a different risk tolerance. His account has a bigger buffer, so maybe he's playing more aggressive today. I don't fucking know. So I just have to trade what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, and then look to learn, I guess, afterwards of what did you see that I didn't see and vice versa.
Who wants to chop in on that about not getting distracted when other people are in a trade?
So this is a really good question because I'm sure all of you have been involved in this at some point, because I was, especially early in my trading career, is call outs, right? You're in some Discord or something. Okay, you know, I'm buying Apple calls here at this, you know, and then they sell it like W's in the chat, bro. Okay, whatever. So
Are you making fun of me because I said the W's in the chat?
I am.
W's in the chat, bro. W's in the room. Everybody made money. What do you mean?
So it really changed for me when I started to, you know, I'd follow some of those because, of course, you follow, you're like, oh, this guy's experienced. I'm gonna take his trades. You know, it's gonna make me money. But then you realize that they still are gonna be wrong. And like, you know, you have that one day where, you know, they've been crushing it, ripping it, and you're like, okay, cool. I'm gonna throw an extra, especially when I traded options. I'm gonna throw 3K into this instead of 500. Like, you know, and then all of a sudden that one is wrong, and you're like, damn it, I just lost so much money. And once you start looking at like, does this make sense to me? Because I finally started to like cross that path when I used to do that, where someone would have a trade call out and I would be like, okay, let me try to break it down and see if it makes sense. Because that's also like, you know, you trying to actually learn, right? Like we're here to learn. Like the goal should be to be a self-sufficient trader. You know, you can come into the charts, you're not relying on anyone's game plan, anyone's live stream or anything. Like you want to create your own trading business. And while you're in the developmental phase, if someone has a call out or something and you can learn how to assess it, look at, does this make sense? And then if it does, you can take it, or finally you cross that bridge where you go, I don't understand this. This doesn't make sense. I'm not going to take it. And you just don't. And you're just content because you just don't care where it goes because it doesn't make sense to you. So once you can cross that and really get that concept of like, is this something that makes sense to me? Okay, I will take it. It's gonna maybe add conviction, or I have no idea what this is. I'm not just gonna hop in blindly. That's gonna like helps like flip the script.
I would just say connect what he just said to chart markups and journaling, right? Oh, Tanner's in a trade. I don't know why he took it. I'm gonna mark it up and study it. I might find something I like. I might find something I hate. Either way, if I can pull some value from it, either what to do or what not to do, I consider that learning. And I think over time, when you sit here and listen to him say that, you go, well, how do I even get to the, some of you are probably thinking, how do I get to the point of confidence that I know this is mine or this isn't mine? Markups, self-study, asking for feedback from other traders, right? How would you be able to be confident in a setup if you did not practice it and study it, even the ones that you don't take? Follow me? Questions so far before we get into another point here. Anything on FOMO? Okay. Isaac, you want to add something or no?
No.
Okay. Save it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, second thought here from FOMO. I want to talk about red days. Okay? We'll go to you first, Joey, and then we'll go to Isaac. We know everybody takes losing days. So, Joey, first, maybe share a red day that you had a really tough time. You don't have to share the amount of money if you don't want to, but could you just speak on like how that sucked and how you got over it?
Yeah, well, we all hate red days, and you know something I've always said and preached, and even to this day, like I still have my battles with red days. I think every single trader has battles with red days, right? As humans, we're naturally wired to not want to be wrong, right? We hate being wrong. That goes against our very human nature of accepting that we're wrong, right? And so if we're able to train our brains to think and to understand and be okay with being wrong, the quicker we're able to accept those red days. I know for me, when I have a red day that is much larger than what I'm comfortable with, I have a huge urge to want to continue trading to at least get some of that back. And raise your hand if you've done that. If you've had a massive, everybody in this room, right?
Sure.
Everybody in this room has had a red day where they just couldn't stomach it and they want to continue trading and get it all back. The issue there is that if it does work for you, now you're programming your brain to think this works, and you're going to do that shit over and over and over again until it just stops working, right? So again, the quicker you can train your brain to be okay and accepting those red days, the quicker you're going to stop blowing those accounts on those red days and be okay with it and continue the rest of your week.
Great point, but you didn't tell us a story about your loss. So I'll go to Isaac. I'll spare you, even though you didn't answer. Isaac, give us a story. Tell us how much money you lost on a bad day and how you got over it. Tell us you went to the gun range and the strip club and the cigar all on the same day. You hit everything in one. Come on, give us the real truth.
So I only do things like that, right? Like usually I did this a lot in the beginning. Anytime I had a really bad losing day, I would treat myself to an extravagant lunch. So I'd go to like Capital Grill, $90 for like a burger and fries and a glass of wine. And that allowed me to reset to come back the following day, right? You get on this tangent, you go like throw weights around like Tanner, you go to the gun range and blow off some 300 blackout. And, you know, I think that actually compounds the problem. You have to understand that losers are part of the process. Losing trades, losing days, losing weeks. We talked about this on your podcast. And contrary to what you say, I actually love being wrong. I love being right more. But I love being wrong because when I'm wrong, that means that there's an opportunity for me to learn, firstly, and an opportunity for me to improve, right? And that's what we should always be striving for in our personal lives and our professional lives and our trading. Always looking for ways that we can be 1% better because you compound that over time. Like that meme, it's like 10x that shit, and then I'm kicking your butt, you know? It's just like, and you're just constantly looking for like little tweaks. And it's really those little differences, I think that like, this much effort and change gives you this much greater results compared to everybody else, like the average person. So, you know, just a couple weeks ago, I was on a little bit of a losing streak.
Here we go.
A little bit of a losing streak. It was like 3 or 4 days in a row. And, you know, turned around and ended up having like pretty much my 5th biggest trading day ever, which was Friday of last week. And the second half of the month, you guys, some of you guys who follow me, so I put on Instagram last night, it was almost 40 grand in the last, you know, 15 days basically of the month. You know, so it's like you got to let time take its course, right, and play out, and things ultimately smoothen out in the long run.
You segued into my next question.
Yeah.
So I'll go to Ev, and then we'll go back down the list. Great point, Isaac. Great point, Joey. How much time do you give after a big loss? Let's just start with max daily loss day. Does everyone in here have a max personal daily loss? It's okay if you don't. You're just full pour it every day. Who has a max daily loss they will not allow themselves to lose? Okay, cool. Ev, you hit max daily loss. How much time do you give yourself off the desk? Like, actually talk us through a day. You go to the gym, see your girl. Like, what are you doing?
Do until what? My next trading session?
Until you pick up the next trade. Could be the next day, could be the next week. I'm asking you to tell us, how much time do you need to process the loss? How do you figure out how much time you need to sit with that thing?
Yeah, so everyone's going to be different. That you have to really be honest with yourself. Of the next day's trading session, let's say, you have to be honest with yourself the best you can to ask, did I accept yesterday's loss, or am I still having it overhang and lead into today's trading, right? Because so many times, oh yeah, I put that loss behind me, it's fine, I'm ready to trade today, but they're really not. They're just still angry that they lost so much yesterday, so it's another max daily loss day. So you have to be aware of your own, how much are you really putting it behind you? But for me, I would say a day by now. It used to be, if I went on tilt one day, it's probably going to happen the next day and the next day. But through time, you try to limit that to 2 days, then the 1 day. Then I would say, first off, for like a big loss, before max daily losses even hit, I would not just jump right back into the next trade. I'd say give myself at least an hour, get off the desk, and reset. Don't even look at what's happening. Of if it came back in my direction and I would have been right, that's very dangerous. So I think give yourself a time hour, and then for the max daily loss, once that's hit, you're done for the day. Journal it tonight once you're now not emotional about why you got in, why you got out, what happened, what could I have done better. Put it behind you, and then come back later when you are level-headed again to talk about the trade. And then hopefully by the morning, you're ready to unbiasedly trade again. And then if you're not, say, you know what, I am still pretty aggravated because I was so close to a payout and I had a max daily loss day. I feel myself wanting to trade already. It's pre-market and I just want to trade. All right, well, then you probably didn't put it behind you. Give yourself maybe another day off or an hour. Pause the account, something, because you didn't put it behind you.
Something. Go ahead, Isaac.
Yeah, so you have to have rules for when things don't go your way. And it's a little tricky, like if you don't have a clear and defined strategy or process or systems, it's a little bit harder to do this. But I have set rules. If I have 2 losers back to back, I'm done for the day. Whether that resulted in me hitting my personal daily loss limit or not, 2 in a row, that means one of 2 things. Either A, the current market environment is not optimal for my strategy and system, or B, my head's not in the right place. And of course, C is it could be a combination of the 2 things. So 2 losers back to back, I walk away, right? Usually that third trade is a scratch, meaning I might have had a winner, then a loser, right? We're gonna leave this to best out of 3 or the other way around. Loser, then winner, right? Best out of 3. And that usually always happens before my daily loss limit, because the way that I have things structured is that if I take 2 losers back to back, that should put me $500 less my personal stop daily loss limit. And you guys have to have those parameters and those restrictions and those training wheels and those guardrails all built into your terminal or your platform, because if you leave it up to you, you're gonna fuck up every time, right? The less that you can leave up to you and your decision making, and you make it less mechanical and more automated, the less problems you're gonna have in the long run. So like daily loss limit, that's an easy one, right? You hit it, you're locked out for the day, you come back the next day. But I put myself on a 1-week timeout before. I had the risk team of the prop firm that I've traded with for almost a decade now. They put me on a 2-week timeout. They said, we're restricting your account for 2 weeks, take a breather, come back. I came back, I crushed, right? So, you know, if you're not working with a risk desk, especially if you're not in the live environment, you might not necessarily get that hand holding or that micromanagement, but just that other thing to kind of like, you know, get you back on course. You know, trading is a lonely business. That's where, you know, some of these communities really come into play, because they can help keep you accountable and help you become more consistent, more disciplined, and so on and so forth. But it's okay to walk away from trading. You know, like I said, they put me on a 2-week timeout, 10 trading days. And then I can come back and you know, kind of start where I left off. And it was in a better place for sure.
Go ahead, Tanner. I would just add to that real fast. Hot or not, everybody. It's cool to walk away when you're hot. It's cool to walk away when you're not. I got a lot of guys that run hot and burn out.
New Year's resolution for me, 2023, was that if I had 4 trading days winning in a row, so like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I take Friday off.
I love that. I
Right.
just don't. I know so many people. I'm sure you guys have them too. Like they do really well, and you've seen it before, like through the coaching, and you're like, oh, dude, I know you're hot.
Right
You're
around
not
the
going to
corner.
stay that way though, buddy. Nobody does. Go ahead.
So on the concept of limits and max loss, story time, my worst day ever. It was my 3rd year of trading. I had like just barely became profitable. I was all stoked. And I remember it was February, and I was up over $14,000 trading options that month. And it was like 4 days away from the end of the month. And I was like, oh, dude, this is epic. I'm crushing it. Friday comes along, and I just decided to trade some 0DTE SPX. And if any of you know, I've been down that rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. So
You may not come out of.
Yeah, that you may not come out of. So up 14 grand in the month. It was also going to be my first 5-figure month of my career. And I lost 700. Then I lost 1,400. And then I was down 2,500. And then I was down 3,700. And then I ended the day down $5,000. Not of sim money, of real cash. And that was my worst day ever. And that's when I was like, holy shit, how did I just let that happen? How did I let that happen? It's because I didn't have guardrails. I think I got away one too many times that month as well. I probably had a couple days where I was maybe down like 1,100, then I clawed back and I was fine. But it's like having that hard limit actually really does save you. It's the whole concept of like, you know, when you build those bad habits and tell yourself it's okay, it's just a matter of time before that day comes around the corner and just kicks you in the face. So I remember that happened. And then, you know, of course, I self-sabotaged my 5-figure month, and I ended the month. I think the day after that, too, I lost another 2 grand. So I lost like 7K in 2 days. And I was like, oh my God. And that really, really hurt. And it took me like a whole week of, luckily I'm pretty good about like every single day is a new day. I will say after a big loss, for sure it's on my mind. Like definitely I'm like, oh shit, you know, I did this yesterday or whatever it is. Especially if you're close to a prop firm payout. I'm sure you guys have been there where you're like really close. And then
That's the worst, bro.
You have a red day and then the next day is red. And then you start going into panic mode. And you're like, oh shit, dude, I was real close. I don't want to fuck this up. And so, you know, coming into the session and asking yourself like, today's a fresh day, right? Like what's going to happen today? Pull it back, slow it down. Because once you kind of create that rift in your losing and like put the hard fork in it. And then maybe your next day, you make $200, $300. The day after, same thing, $300, $400. You start to kind of build back that momentum on the other side, and you remember, you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I need to do. So it's so unique and different for everyone. But last thing I'll add on this is, I forget the name of the trade. I think it's Tom Cantfield.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom Catfield, really great trader, big on Twitter.
Well, he used to be. He's gone now.
He's gone now. Yeah. So when he used to post a bunch, he told the story about how he took this massive loss.
500 grand.
Yes.
In Apple.
Yes.
And then he went to Colorado.
Trip.
Yeah, he went to Colorado. Some of you know this story. And then he came back and he started trading Apple small. Still couldn't get his feet under him. And then went and took another break and went to Colorado by himself for like a month without his wife and kids and just zenned out in the woods for a little bit until he could find himself.
Yeah. And
Chuck's laughing. Chuck's like, dude, I want to do that, bro. Let's fucking go.
And the whole point of that, is like, it takes everyone a different amount of time. But the cool thing about him is he was being really objective and honest with himself, saying like, I'm just not ready to get back to it this second. It's not like he's quitting. He's just very aware of like how he is normally performing usually as a trader versus like where he is now. And it's that concept of self-regulation.
Exactly.
Because all of us are going to go through dry spells. We're all going to go through periods where you're in drawdown. Some of the best traders I know, like literally they're multimillionaire traders, and they go into these periods where they lose for 7 to 8 months in a row. And like you think, oh, that can't happen. You're 10 years in. That's impossible. Like, no, it can.
And it actually happens with more money.
Yes, it happens a lot more.
If you do your job right, you will take bigger losses the longer you trade. With me on that? Right. Okay. How many of you think Tanner had to lose that money in the options trading to become the version he is now? How many of you have taken a few burns on the stove and feel like you're building the callus? Yeah. You probably need more.
I know a guy.
You're talking to people who coach trade. We talk to traders more than we talk to our women. I'm serious. And my son sometimes. So like all we do is talk with traders. I'm telling you, even when you think you've kind of got the callus built and you're like, I think I know how to control my emotions. Guarantee you that week or that day, the market's going to self-check you a little bit. So I think the big thing from these losses, and then Isaac, you go, is just their tuition. You have to pay. Pay to play. Who here has gone to college? Okay, who's doing what their degree is for? Oh, see, that's the fucking thing right there, not two hands. You know what I'm saying? So tuition is mandatory, but it doesn't lead to a designated outcome. Follow me? Just like college. Got a political science degree, you still end up working in IT. Feel me? So now as a trader, you come to the market and you pay tuition. You're not going to go to class, you're going to take losses. But it comes to the perspective that we're trying to share with you here of how to be a better loser, learn from those losses, and take less of them before you become profitable. The whole goal of everything I do is to make it so you guys make money before or in a shorter amount of time than it took me to make money. You feel me? Cool. Good, Isaac. Got it? All right, yeah, it's the tuition. It's the tuition. You got no student loans. You got none of that. It's real cash. Okay. Yes, please. Especially this guy. Go ahead. Great question.
Yep. So I'm big on receiving coaching, right? Like I'm a good coach, but I'm very coachable. And I've worked with a lot of business coaches, performance coaches, personal counselors, relationship counselors, so on and so forth. It's a consistency thing. I tell people all the time, I'm like, how can you expect consistency as far as your results and your performance if you're not consistent in your behaviors and your actions?
Mic drop.
You can't expect consistency in whatever you're involved in if you're not consistent yourself, right? So it's just a discipline thing, right? Like it's not a belief, it's a command, right? And it's like you have to respect yourself and the business enough to accept your rules. Like just accept, all right, I was wrong. This day didn't work out for me. If God blesses me and I wake up tomorrow to have another crack at this, I'll do it again. That's it. And you learn, unfortunately, like you said, right? Like my whole design with like my Discord, my community, my coaching is like learn from the mistakes that I made, learn from my experiences, so you don't necessarily have to go through them yourself. However, most people learn through friction and an ass beating, right? So, everyone has to go through their own journey and their own process. However, when there's shortcuts, right, take them.
Yeah.
They're there. Somebody else paid tuition, that means you can get in at a discount, right? So,
dude, how many mic drops in one little rant right there, bro? Jesus Christ, save some for the rest of us. Go ahead, you got something, Joey?
He just covered it.
Yeah, that was good. the thought, we're getting a little feedback. The thought about performance, consistency, routine, as you mentioned it there. You made me think of this thing I used to say all the time. I want to be consistently persistent. Nobody says that. They kind of mean the same thing, but they also don't. Like, I'm going to be persistence to me is like annoying about my goals. I'm going to be relentless. Persistence is like, I'm not giving up until you kill me. So I want to take that to the next level and be consistently persistent. So that's what you made me think of there. When we think about consistency in general, you spoke about it a lot. Yeah, what do you
I
got?
was going to say, in the learning curve, you need to be consistently resilient.
That's good too. Yeah. With just that word, consistency, it's such a buzzword in trading. Let's talk about routines. Let's talk about like structure that leads to good performance. I talked about Kobe Bryant in the beginning. We all know Kobe was in the gym every game, 4 hours before. Other people are still waking up from their nap, right? That drive, that ability to commit and respect yourself. I love that you said it like that. Like, respect yourself enough, Lawrence, to just be like, I don't do that anymore. I don't identify with that person. But that takes the shift. And you said that like the routines and the things that you do day to day all feed into that performance. So let's go around and just talk a little bit about day to day things that you do to make yourself feel that you should have that level of respect for yourself and not waver from it, not disrespect yourself. You want to go first? Since you spoke about it, we all know you're going to say deadlifting 800 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, that's the
720.
720, sorry.
So the day-to-day routine of like things you do and the idea of like what gives me energy, right? This is actually a concept I've been like working with and thinking about a lot, because when we take losses, especially, or when you don't follow your plan or when you screw up, think about how shitty you feel the rest of your day. Like, I know we're all trying to work on it and like not feel like that, but like it drains you, right? You don't have energy for the rest of your day. So once you start doing what you're supposed to do, and you have to practice this on a loss day, especially a max loss day, you hit your max loss, you're frustrated, but you accept it and you move on. And then you're like, oh, my whole day isn't ruined now. Like, I have energy still. And so I've been thinking about this concept of like, what gives me energy, what makes me feel good, right? Obviously, at this point in my health fanaticness, like, I know eating whole foods like really gives me energy, makes me feel good. I know getting good sleep makes me feel good.
Taking your steroids.
I know taking steroids makes you feel good. I know that like doing all these things makes me perform better and ultimately like thrive. So like, find something that you can work on individually that maybe you're not doing. And of course, like, the cool part about trading as well is it's also a concept of personal development. Whether you realize it or not, like, it's literally a pursuit of trying to become a better version of yourself. And that's another cool part of like being an entrepreneur is like, we want to get better, right? Like, we're not fucking average. None of you are average. We're doing hard shit, okay? So yeah, come on, give your all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, you got to feel that. That's why you're here.
We're not average. So we're trying to do something really, really tough and find areas in your life where you're lacking and you're like, you know what, I could really work on that. And I love the concept of personal development because it's different buckets. So everyone neglects certain buckets in their life, and you all know it, right? And everyone's is different. Some people say it might be their eating, it might be their sleep, it might be their partying, it might be their relationships, right? There's so many things where you're like, oh, I'm just not good at that. But it's like, but you can work on it and get better, and you're neglecting it. So how can you find something that's going to like flip the script, give you energy, and make you feel better? And so pre-market routine-wise for me, like I was kind of talking about it earlier, but when I moved to my new apartment, I didn't really have a good like pre-market routine going on. I kind of noticed that, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of like all over the place. So ChatGPT is a great tool if you don't already know. I literally plugged in like, okay, here's when I trade, what I like to trade, how I want to do it. Here's some rules behind it. Build me a good pre-market prep routine to kind of get ready for the open. And it literally helped me step by step, being like, okay, like first thing, like I have it all detailed. And like first thing I do every single day is I wake up and I chug a glass of water. I know you're just like, okay, well, that's whatever. But like the first thing I do kind of wakes me up. And then I literally leave my apartment instantly and go get coffee. I have to walk and just like get my body moving a little bit. It helps me wake up. It helps me feel good. It gives me energy. Then get to my desk by a certain time, do my pre-market prep, go through everything, go through my scenarios, build like me feeling prepared, gives me energy. Execute. I win or lose. I respect my max loss. Doesn't matter. Gives me energy. Go on with what do I have to do the rest of the day? You know, I'm still an entrepreneur. I got to work on my business, make content, do that stuff. Gives me energy. Go lift. Gives me energy. So it's like ask yourself where areas in your life that you can add to that will give you energy, and what are you neglecting, right? You're all neglecting something.
Well said. Pass it to Joey. Let's keep going. Who here has thought about this though before? Who here is self-analyzing themselves to say like, what gives me energy? If you have not had that thought, don't raise your hand. I'm genuinely curious. Okay, cool. It's a really good self-awareness question. What are you doing, Joey?
Yeah, there's a lot of points here. Now, one thing I want to build on is I'm a big believer of I'm going to take care of myself for you, right? So as an example, for all the people that are married, say, if you're a husband, you can't be a good husband if you don't take care of yourself. You can't be a good father if you don't take care of yourself, because all that bleeds into your happiness, right? And that will bleed into your relationships. The same thing for being a trader. If you don't take care of yourself mentally, you're not going to be where you need to be a good trader, right? All of that bleeds into one. And so one thing that I'm really big on is that trading isn't my entire life. Right? I have other hobbies. I have other things that I love and I enjoy doing, and I find things that I'm good at. If I have a really big red day that just really turns my stomach over, if I hit a maximum loss day, I want to go find things that I know I'm good at and I enjoy, because it's going to take my mind off of that big red day, and I'm not going to come into the next day with it on my mind, right? I'm completely forgetting about it and focusing on the things that I'm good at and that make me happy in order to make myself a better trader.
Go ahead, Ev. You can go next. I think it's a great point, Joey, because it's like, why would I want, no disrespect to my wife or my son, but it's like, I come off the max loss day, it's 4 o'clock, she wants me downstairs at 4:30, you want me to just throw that away? Like, it's hard. Well, if I go take care of myself, I go hit the sauna for an hour, get in the cold plunge, now I can come out of it, I literally feel like a different person, I feel like I've detached from the day, and I can be my normal self. But we all get lost in the sauce, so you gotta find a way to, not just what gives you energy, in a way like Joey said, what pulls you out and reminds you there's a bigger world out there than just the charts. Go ahead, Ev.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree with that. In the beginning of my trading, and for many everyone else, it's like your identity is your trading. Like, someone would ask, how you doing today? And you're like, well, I'm in a trade. I'll let you know after. If I win, I'll be good.
Who's been there? Like, the trade impacts your mood. It's crazy. We're laughing about it, but it is all of us.
Yeah, that you're letting the trading obviously dictate your life, but obviously, like he was saying, you're not your trading results even. That, especially in the early going, you need to have other things to track your small wins. So it could be, I worked out today, I ate good today. I didn't win on the trading desk, but I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was over trading like crazy. I said I would stop. So yes, I haven't gotten a payout yet, but I haven't over traded in like 2 weeks. So like, I'm still progressing. I'm still not seeing the results I want, but I am in a better position than I was 2 weeks ago. And so from 2 weeks from now, I hope to duplicate that again. But if you're just consumed by the P&L, even when it's green, it's unhealthy to just be, I made $2,000, so it was a good day. Well, how did you make that $2,000? Because if it was poor trading, then tomorrow's probably going to be poor trading again, but different results. So I think just tracking smaller wins off the desk, being a good husband, being a good father, but even just tracking things that you said you would do and then holding yourself to it, you could feel like, well, I've been doing all those disciplined things. I feel like if I get to the desk tomorrow, I should be able to be disciplined there because I've been keeping my word to my other things. But if you're not keeping your word on other things, then it's going to be very tough to do that in your own trading.
How you do one thing is how you do everything. You got anything, Isaac, on that?
No, just harping back on again, no consistency if you're inconsistent, right? I'm so routine. If you guys saw my calendar or my schedule on my phone, most of you would probably throw up. It's loaded. It's usually the same thing. Even my process and like pre-market prep and like choosing my levels and preparing for setups, it's exactly the same every single day. And for those of you guys who follow me on Instagram, you see my stories. It's like obvious. Isaac wakes up early, lets the dog out, makes a coffee, right? Does his pre-market prep, goes to meetings, have phone calls, smokes cigars, goes to the gym. Like it's just very, very routine. I'm happy with my life, right? That's why I do it day in and day out. And there's still things that I'm working for, but I understand this is the way that my day needs to look today in order for it to look the way that I want it to tomorrow or next year or 10 years from now. And just like understanding that, good trading looks boring. Right. So if you can find a way to make it fun, partners are tuning into something, like PW, DT, right? Some people absolutely hate watching their streams and whatnot because they're just very loud or whatnot. But for some people, that's what helps. Again, it's a lonely business. And, you want to get excited with a big winner, right? And feel the emotions of like, having a loser, right? And being angry or sad or mad. But like, again, good trading is repetitive and it's very boring, and that's perfectly fine. Not only perfectly fine, like I think that's the way it should be. If you're getting really excited with your trades, then you probably got to like dial it back a little bit and just kind of,
like you said, we all want that. We want that excitement, but that's not going to feed long-term success. If you haven't had a big winner yet, we want you to experience that. But I really don't want you to experience too many highs because they'll lead to lows. You do want to be kind of in the middle of that bell curve. Go ahead, Anthony.
Well, it's funny that you ask.
So what Anthony said, if you didn't hear, is how do you handle winning days? What do you do? When do you stop? What do you do to process that? It's a great question. You want to go, Isaac?
Yeah, so a few things I'll touch on, right? How many of you guys currently work a full-time salary or hourly job with a schedule, right? Okay, and obviously I'm not going to ask what you guys make, right? But some people will go to work for 8 to 9 hours, plus the commute, plus getting ready, right? Plus the break. It's anywhere from like 10 to 13 hours, right? If you're a nurse, maybe you got like a 16-hour day or something, firefighter, and you'll do that for like $150 for the day when you look at like your hourly rate or your salary. And you'll be up on a trade, $800 in 3 minutes and not lock that shit down and not walk away. Like you'll slave at a job that you probably hate for a fraction of what you just made in minutes, and then you want to keep going. Like the idea of like getting into trading for me was to be able to buy more of my time, right? Because I was working jobs, trading my time for some money. Now I want to trade so that I can get more time back. So, one of the things for me, who was it that asked again over here, right?
Anthony, yeah.
I'm usually a one and done kind of guy. I say it all the time, OAD in my Discord, one and done, right? If it's a winner, right? 2 losers back to back, and then sometimes 3. And you'll see that with my trade reports later. Right, if I get one winner, especially if I get it fast, if I get like 7.5 to 15 points in like less than 10 minutes, I'm walking the hell away. That's it, I'm done. I know I got other shit to do, so it almost gives me a break between shutting down the trading terminal and then getting to whatever my next meeting or call or appointment or Zoom or whatnot. But Top 1 Futures, powered by Project X, there's a personal daily profit target. And I coach everybody in my Discord to have it set to a specific number that's in line with consistency rules on 150K. That way, if you cross that threshold and then peel back, it automatically liquidates, automatically blocks you for the day. Done deal. Again, automate these things. Because if you leave it up to you, you're going to fuck up almost every single time.
Facts.
Automate it, have it coded in your terminal, have it coded in your indicators. That way you can't even make the choice. It chooses for you. $3,025. You exceeded it. You're at 3,600. It comes back to 3,025. Liquidate, block. Done. Walk away.
Let's stay on the winners. That's a really good point. Because I was going to ask you guys, do you treat trading like a business or trading like a sport? Anthony, when you're playing a game, hockey, do you stop scoring? No, you just keep playing until the bell's in. In this sense, I agree with Isaac. I like treating it more like a business than a sport. A lot of people will say, this was a saying going around for a little while, if the game is still on, keep shooting. That's not protecting gains. The market can change. So just because the markets are open doesn't mean it's time to participate. So we're going to talk in a second. Go sport sometimes, go business sometimes. Just like trading is an art and a science, it's the same thing. It's a business and a sport. So I think in this sense, you keep shooting. Who shoots 100% in anything, in any sport ever? Is there any statistic in sports about 100% in any, nothing? You're a Hall of Fame baseball player if you hit 3 out of 10.
3.5.
3.5 out of 10.
40%.
So the more you shoot, I look at it as like a perspective of it's opening me up to more risk. You get me? So it's like I want to be defensive even in those winning positions. Yeah. It's well said.
Yeah, set windows of time though, right? Like you were saying, like the sports thing, right? You have to treat trading like a business because it is. If you're not treating it like a business, you'll never find success in it.
True.
Okay? Because as a sport, there's tons of professional athletes that you'll never know their name. They had an entire career, sometimes that lasts years, right? Because it's sport. However, hockey, basketball, whatever, they keep playing until when?
End of the game.
When is the end of the game? When the clock runs out, right? Somebody sets that time. You have to have time limits. Anybody that's been in my Discord or is currently in my Discord, they know what time am I usually done trading? Usually 12 o'clock. Done deal. So I'm so strict on that if I see a setup developing at like 11:40, I won't even take it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, then there's a likelihood that I'm going to drag this out into 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock. There's a number coming out, lunchtime liquidation. You're at risk for tweets, news hitting the wire, and then it's just, and it's an ugly day. Now it's 3 o'clock. You're making up from the loss.
Oh, you're stressed, bro.
Then it gets crazy.
Stress, yeah.
You gotta have rules. For me, the latest I'll be in a trade, that means I was in a trade that I kept nursing along, win or lose, 1 p.m. That's maximum cutoff. But for me, 12 o'clock, I walk away whether I've taken no trades or not. And again, if I've taken none, and one really juicy one starting to set up, but it's like 11:35, 11:40, I'll just forego it sometimes and say, I'll come back tomorrow.
Go ahead, Joey.
To the point of, when to walk away, especially for those that have a job outside of trading. When you make $1,000 in a day, or say $1,500, $500, whatever it is, right? Ask yourself, what could I do with this extra money? Could I pay off debt? Could I take my family on a vacation? Could I do whatever, right? And ask yourself, do you really want to risk giving back that amount of money that you just made, knowing that you could you could do with that money, right? And so that's really kind of helps fight that greed aspect of trading, to where it's like, I made X amount, this is what I could do with it, so I'm going to keep it.
Well said. I'll add two things to that. The bandwidth that we have as traders is very different. The Black Shirt Club guys, we've talked about this. When you started trading, Anthony, or anybody in here, your ability to sit there and trade all day is very small. Your ability to make good decisions is a very small window. Emotions come into play, markets are moving, you're getting tossed around in a lot of different ways. Now, trading 10 years almost every single day, my bandwidth is way different. I ask that. Evan knows. I'll sit there all day sometimes and still not take a trade, even though I'm at my desk all day. Old Austin could never do that. If I spent that many hours at the desk, I would eventually take something. You follow me? So who here is maybe year 1 to year 3? Is anyone fresher than year 1? Nice. In those first 3 years, first 5 years, your bandwidth is probably 2 to 3 hours a day of live trading. And then probably an hour to an hour and a half of review. That's what I would aim for. Year 5, 6, 7, you probably can start opening yourself up if you want to trade more. That doesn't mean you're going to make more money. Would you guys agree with those? The bandwidth, the time frames?
Yeah, and I would just say it goes back to what Isaac was saying. Everyone almost forgets why they got into trading. Many of you, it's probably to escape your 9 to 5. So same thing like he was saying, that I don't want to trade all day. Even though I could potentially make more money, bringing it back to the sports analogy of like, trading is the only sport where the opponent isn't also scoring unless you take a trade. So if you're up 1-0, you don't have to keep on scoring to win the game. That's
a good point.
If you stop trading, the other team's not going to score. The market's not going to take your point back. So if you just call it there, you guarantee a green day.
One and done. Like when that's what we do. If we hit a good winner before 10 a.m., it's hard to get me to take another trade, to be honest, Anthony. Even if I'm sitting there at the desk, it is hard for me at this point to take another trade when I'm up, which is a bad thing in some ways because I could make more money. But I prioritize the idea that we talked about like earlier with you, Nick, is like stack. Yeah, today I made 600, I could have made 800. I made 1,000 today, I could have made 1,200. Well, that extra little bit is not worth the risk of continuing to trade versus the value that I get of the stacking of the green days. An $80 day is better than a red day, yes? There's a hierarchy, maybe you've heard me talk about it, right? Big green days, we all want that. Small green days, very important, right underneath that. Break-even days, still very important. And then you have small red and big red. If we just avoid the big red days, everything else will work itself out. You'll have big green days without trying that hard. The market will work for you, just like you'll have small green days. But if you prioritize that hierarchy and avoid that bottom of big red, you're going to be good.
Don't worry about profit.
Ooh.
Just worry about having winning trades. A winning trade could technically be break even. That's a shitty trade, but it's better than a losing trade, right? Don't focus on profitability. Don't focus on dollars, right? Focus on the mechanics, the execution, the risk management. The dollars follow you.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Like you'll find profitability with that risk management. Quarterly.
I'd even say yearly.
Quarterly.
Yeah, because like markets change.
The year at the end of the day, it's the end of the year that matters.
That's all that matters,
right?
yeah.
But you want to be throwing up, and you're gonna have, hopefully not, but you're going to have losing quarters.
Yeah.
Right. Like my worst month ever, I think I lost like $28,000. But my best month ever, I made like $72,000. Right. It's just like you got to have a large enough sample size. For me, it's like you want to just make sure that you're always putting up profitable quarters. Right, a losing month is fine. Losing weeks, they're definitely going to happen. Losing streaks are going to happen. But on a quarterly basis, especially if you have 2 losing quarters in a row, then you got to reassess your strategy.
Yeah, that should not be.
Strategy
6 months of losing straight, that's something wrong. Yeah. I would just say like it is yearly, and I agree with Isaac. It's quarterly, but it's day to day. Keep that hierarchy in frame. If you're taking big losses every day, dude, something's wrong. That's not what trading is supposed to look like. So I think it's like keeping them. Anybody in here know Gary Vee? Any Gary Vee fans from back in the day? Gary used to say, macro patience, micro speed. I love that for trading. Day to day, I am locked in. I'm trying to follow the rules, the discipline, the structure that we're talking about. But if I have a red day here or there, kind of like I was saying to Anthony, I don't let it knock me off my macro patience, my macro goal, my big goal for the year, 5 years, 10 years. Anybody want to add on that?
I would just say one thing on most of you are obviously following one of us here, that you're not trading alone, but there is the say that if you're trading completely by yourself, that maybe your routine and your plan isn't good, and that it's not going to come out of drawdown however you want to approach it, that having another set of eyes on your trading could help make some tweaks faster.
Facts.
Because there is no saying, well, this is my plan. If I just give it long enough, it should work itself out.
No.
There's no saying that. So if you
No,
get
it
another
could
set
suck.
of eyes on your trades, and then it could be like, yeah, you're doing everything right. I think it's healthy. Just give it more time. It's been now 3 months, but you're getting better each time. Then the plan is probably solid. You're just working your way through it. But there is such thing as, well, this plan makes no sense. No matter how long you trade this, it's not going to make you money most likely. So that's why you got to get around.
That's a great point.
As many of you are, you're doing the right thing. Asking others for feedback unbiasedly, because
Well, think about it like Tanner. How many powerlifting coaches have you gone through?
I've actually only had 2.
Still, though, you've had 2.
Yeah.
My thought here is, if you, let's
He
say it
ate
this
the
way.
last one.
Huh?
No,
he
3.
ate the
He
last
he
one.
killed the last guy.
3.
Who here has asked a trader, not their wife or their boyfriend or something, who has asked a trader for feedback on their trades? Yeah. So I think you have to look at this as a perspective of like, I don't know it all. I need the feedback. If Evan looks at my trades and I lost and I go, I think I took a good trade, and he looks at it because he knows how I trade and he says that's a good trade, I can actually leave and not have that weight of the loss on me. I feel good about it. Well, then what if he tells me, dude, how did you not see this? The delta was doing this, that? You're right. I need to pay more attention to that. I get to make a note of that. I get to bring my awareness to that. Because I'm always a believer in like fixing trading issues. Step 1, self-awareness. Talk about it. Tell everybody about it. Put it on your t-shirt. Put it on your mirror. See it. Say it every day. Self-awareness is step 1 to solving any problem. So self-awareness only gets you so far. You need that outside feedback from people in order to grow. Like Tanner said, the outside people telling me I talk over people on my podcast. I don't have to listen to them though. You know what I mean? What were you going to say?
This is where the data comes in. This is like where all the back end work, documenting stuff, doing all that work. Like this is where it actually provides a lot of value, because if you are in a losing streak or you are struggling, it's going to be there in your data. It's going to be crystal clear, especially like in your journals, in your reviews. Like you're going to be doing the same thing over and over. I guarantee it, it's 1 or 2 things. And this is the crazy part of trading, where it's actually usually just 1 or 2 mistakes that we're doing that we need to really, really work hard on in order to actually flip the script and go the other direction. And too many people try to, like, I've dealt with some people with coaching where they're like, okay, I'm doing this. Okay, what next? What next? What next? And I'm like, let's focus on this one thing for literally the next 3 weeks. You're still not dialing this one thing in. And it's like, once you start focusing on one thing that you can identify with your trading that is screwing you up and holding you back, and actually work really, really hard at that one thing to fix it, then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I'm flipping the script. I'm starting to go green. Like, I am treating it like a business. Things are turning around. So that's why I constantly preach that. Like, it's like, do the damn work. I know it's tedious and boring, but like, do it. It's actually going to help you.
And there's so many ties to weightlifting. You know what I mean? Like, you go to the gym. Who here has gone to the gym and like gone home and looked in the mirror and been like, yo, I'm looking good. And you know you're fucking lying to yourself because you don't. Like, you don't make the change in a day. But you were like, yo, I do look kind of good. I'm going to go back tomorrow. You don't see those improvements. You don't get to a 700-pound deadlift in a day. You see what I'm saying? So like when you talk about committing to something great, has anyone in here ever lifted that much weight? It's a very hard number to get to.
If you have, get out.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of time. How many years would it say did it take you to build to that level of being a power lifter?
Oh, over a decade.
Exactly. So trading is no different. The problem with this business is just you lose money along the way. Like, you go be a doctor, you can suck, and you still graduate, and it says doctor next to your name. You come to trading, you say you're a trader, the only thing next to your name, it's blank. It's just losses. That's your tuition. That's what you're going to have to stand on. You know what I'm saying? Anything you want to add there, boys? I want tactics. Well, first, before we do tactics, questions for the guys about performance, mindset. Yeah.
Just reading confirmation. Like, I'm like, is this doing what I need it to do? And that's something that just comes with experience. So you can't really replace that, unfortunately. It just is screen time and experience. That is the biggest teacher. I've been looking at charts every single day for over 5 years. So when the market is doing what I need it to do, I go, oh yeah, this looks good. Okay, cool. This is doing what it should. This is doing what it should. And I'm like reinforcing and walking myself through that versus like, oh, that's not good. Like, you see like a sweep or reversal. You're like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. So walking myself through the trade. And that's why I will take some haircuts near the bottom right there, because sometimes it is a little tough. But if I just have a decent enough stop where I'm like, okay, it shouldn't clear this, but if it does and then instantly reclaims right away again, I'm like, okay, I was just a little too early. Let me get back in. And then now let me confirm that it's doing what I need to do.
Good question. Yes.
I love this.
Look at Tanner's smile, bro. Go ahead, Tanner.
So I love this because I just love when I can talk about powerlifting. So in the sport of powerlifting, we go through I go through a week every like 4 to 5 weeks called a deload week. And it's scheduled in no matter what. It's because usually what you do is you build up all this fatigue, you're tired as fuck, and then you need a week to reduce it to kind of get back to baseline. And now you have this like new level of strength that you've adapted to. You make strength adaptations. That's how you adapt. But without doing a deload, you just run all this fatigue into the wall, and then you feel like shit. And so this is a really, really good question, because I remember I asked a trading psychologist about this when I went to Traders for a Cause, and I was like, he like coached a bunch of like Olympic athletes and stuff. Then he started coaching traders. And I was like, what are your thoughts on a deload week for trading? And he's like, you know what? This is actually a really good question, because not enough people take a week off when they need to, because they just keep going and going and going. He goes, what's like a notorious week that always is kind of low volume or tough that you're like, just know you shouldn't trade?
4th of July week.
First
Steer
week
clear.
of the month.
Christmas.
Christmas.
So the week between Christmas and New Year's, it's low volume. Markets are closed a bunch of the days. It is the best week to take off. And I promise you, not being red and going to Christmas dinner feels really good. It feels really
Right,
good.
because then your uncle that's like, hey, how's that trading thing going, bro?
How's that little trading thing going on, buddy?
Right.
Yeah. So literally, I did this last year.
Stick to the deadlifts, bro.
Yeah, I scheduled a whole week off during then. Didn't matter my performance. I think I was doing fine. Like, it wasn't even a bad month or anything. And it felt really good to take that. So it's like, I think that is something most of us need to schedule in more. I think what's really hard is in the beginning years, you're so excited to trade. You're like,
Especially because we're all type A for the most part.
Exactly.
Like, what does a type A person do when you tell them to stop? Bang!
Exactly. Go, 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 go,
Fuck
go.
you. Get the fuck out of my way. Right.
So scheduling this time off actually I think is really, really beneficial. So just look at like either give yourself some grace to be like, you know what, I'm gonna like, I love what Isaac said. He's like, oh, if I have 4 winning days in a row, I'm gonna give myself Friday off. Fuck yeah.
Implement it. I can't. I'm responsible for a Discord now. Trust me.
Dude,
Try that.
yes.
If you win Monday through Thursday,
Bye.
long weekend, take Friday off. How many of you guys are here on PTO today right now from your job? Okay, so not too. I know somebody, I'm not gonna call them out. I know somebody that had to bank a day of PTO on credit. They got PTO debt now to be here at this event,
Respect.
right? You have to take PTO days in your trading business too. By nature of the prop firm that I used to trade with, live traders were actually not allowed to trade the week of Thanksgiving, the week of, and the week after Christmas or New Year's, and 4th of July. So there was only 48 trading weeks less bank holidays, right? But 48 trading weeks instead of 52. Because those 4 weeks we were actually not allowed to trade. All of our accounts were locked. We couldn't place a trade if we wanted to. We'd get the order rejected in TradeEvade, right?
That was a good one, bro. That
was
sounded
close.
really good.
I've been hearing it for a very long fucking time. But schedule your time off. Like, again, try the Friday off if you have 4 winning days in a row. Try the, like, I'm just going to go to Argentina for a week on vacation and, like, not trade. Like, do that stuff. It's important. You do it from your current job. Why wouldn't you do it from your business? You wouldn't open up your laptop in Cabo to see how your, human resources job emails are looking, right? Like,
Definitely
so why
not.
are you looking at the charts? Enjoy your fucking vacation. The money will be there when you get back.
But it's so funny because everybody gets into trading and they're like, I want to trade and travel. Then you start making money trading and you're like, dude, I just want to travel. Please
I've
leave
had
me
my
alone.
flexes. I'm like, I made $1,200 in the barber's chair today.
Right. But even it's just so true. So true. Go ahead, Joey. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I said earlier about I'm going to take care of myself for you in this situation. I'm going to take care of myself for my trading. And for me, I'm a new father. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So for me, I've implemented, that into spending time with my son. Like I have an entire week, literally an entire week where trading or business is a fraction of my whole day, right? That whole week. And so I spend that week with my son, with my wife, family, to just take myself out of the pocket, so to speak, and to be present elsewhere, right? And to be able to do that and come back the following week makes you that much more excited. You're that much more refreshed and clear-headed, and you're ready to hit the ground running and get to work.
who here has heard the reference, like, as traders, we want to be, it's a gun, you shoot people from far away, what's it called? We want to be snipers, right? Like precision is a word that comes up in trading. How could you be precise if you're trading all day and every day? You don't think there's variability here? Back to my point about bandwidth, you know? Like, be honest with yourself.
You will fatigue.
Some of you are not as smart and don't have as much endurance as you fucking think.
Yeah.
Be humble. Respect the game. The game says if you're in your first 5 years and you can't figure out how to make money in the first 2 hours, what makes you think you're going to figure it out at 1:30 in the afternoon when volume is half that it was in the morning? So I'm a big believer in the taking the day off. I'm too busy now, unfortunately. I'm also a big believer, like Tanner said and Joey said, hobbies. Like, it's sad to say, but I stopped DJing until last year because I was just working. That's not cool. Like, you gotta have hobbies and fun stuff, you know? And I would just say, too, the more that I have found balance in my life, valuing relationships over business, taking care of people, treating them better, the universe throws stuff back at me. So I really do think that as much as some of you may hear what we're saying of like, I thought I came here to learn about that VWAP, but now we're talking about how to be a better person and perform better. It's more valuable. I can teach you how to read a VWAP in 5 minutes on a video. This stuff that like takes you to the next level, it's hard to get. So any questions for these guys? Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, when I traded on straight on TradingView, I would have it filtered to ticks rather than the dollar amount. I mean, you do want to do the math of how much size you should put on.
I couldn't stop thinking about Isaac when I saw the word tick, big tick. I just keep thinking, it's distracting.
Yeah, it definitely could help, especially if you are just chasing that momentum of seeing the dollar figure fluctuate. I was up 300, now I'm only up 150. Should I cut it here because it's going to go down to just break even? But if you're just, I'm up 15 ticks. I risked 20 ticks, so let's give it a little bit more room. It could definitely be less emotional. It's the same thing as like the silliness of changing the colors of your candles so you don't register a red candle as being so devastating. It's like
I'm all black right now.
it moved 2 points. Let's all relax. It's not a
Relax.
giant
Don't say
red
something
candle.
inappropriate. Everybody relax.
You'll never go back.
I did. I went from all black to red and black just to be like cool for the marketing, and now I'm back to all black. So I did go back. If you're struggling with that, Paul, it's probably like a lot of the time when I see people struggling, like I look at my P&L and I close my trades too. I would just like, it's gonna be kind of weird advice. Create other ways of making money so you're not as attached to the money from your trading. I'm big, like these guys in the front row, a lot of these guys, Tanner, I've helped him a lot. Like, I'm big on building your personal brand. I'm nobody, bro. Like, nobody knew me until you knew me. I've built my brand over 10 years. Anyone can do what I'm doing. Anyone can do YouTube videos. I am not special. I'm shorter than the average guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of you think, I just want to be a trader and just make all this money. Do any of you have just one stream of income? No way. Does anyone really wealthy have one stream of income? No. Sure, maybe, you're Anthony, you sell your tech shares, cash out for 50 million, but the rest of us are all simple people. We don't get that luxury. So I think you should really be serious about this. Like, if you want to go down this path, Tanner said it, Joey said it, of being an entrepreneur, what else are you doing to become an entrepreneur? With Fiverr and YouTube and building a brand on the internet and TikTok shop, there's a lot of ways to make money in less than 2 or 3 hours a day. You can trade for 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and you can work on building your business. That's going to take you time. But I can tell you firsthand, and I'm sure the boys up here agree, it is a lot better than working for somebody else. As someone who worked a W-2, I worked in the DJ job for a long time. Building my own brand, even through the shit, is way better than working for somebody else. Amen or no? Hey, fucking men. Any thoughts on the multiple streams of income?
Yeah, I was just working one job when I learned of trading and started trading, and it bought me the time that I needed to go and do other things. And I went from, going from working to working and trading to then just trading, and now I have like 8 or 9 different income sources and still growing. So it's like, that's not for everybody, right? You might be okay with 80 grand a year, but answering to no one, right? Or like living in Costa Rica or Portugal, that's fine. But like, you only get one shot at this, right? And we don't know how much time we all have. So
and you can't get a Lotus in Costa Rica.
I mean, you can get some off-road tires or something. But yeah, trading has created lots of opportunities for me, ones I never thought that I would have. But again, like the same way, it's not everything for me, right?
But it's
like,
also
I
taboo.
love not trading.
It's taboo for us as traders to say, make other money, keep your money up so you don't stress about trading. That is super frowned upon, I feel like. But it's the honest truth. Like, I don't think I would trade as well as I do if I had to take that money out every month to pay rent. And of course, as you trade better over time, you end up building up some reserves and maybe make some other money or whatever it may be, and you can breathe a little bit more. But even then, I mean, maybe I'm just too conservative. I wouldn't want to sleep well at night knowing I got a wife, a kid, 2 places, a mortgage, and this and that, and I got one stream of income. That if I have a bad quarter, we're all kind of sweating. Even if we got a couple $1 million in the bank, when we're down like that, it's just tough. So I like it that I can be down in one bucket and up in another bucket. To your point, Paul, that this is about, it helps me not worry about that P&L as much, detaching a little bit.
You can't trade from a place of scarcity. You have to be in this abundance mindset. And I know this is going to sound like woo-woo shit, but like it's a real thing. Like
Super real.
It's when I quit my corporate job to trade full time, I did it strategically. I used to work at a restaurant for years and years and years. And then I worked corporate. And when I was at corporate, I still worked at the restaurant 1 day a week. I was always trying entrepreneur things. I tried everything in the book. I owned a gym for a little bit. I tried Amazon FBA. I tried drop shipping. I tried all this shit. And then I found trading and I was like, I'm going to stick with this. And I strategically did it where I quit my corporate job. I had $50,000 to my name at the time. I was like, I'm going to quit my corporate job. I'm going to go back to working at the restaurant at night. I went backwards. But like, you have to do that. You have to be okay with taking a step back if you need to. I literally went from first college graduate in my family, working the corporate job in tech,
To black sheep.
to literally, I'm serving beer at night to a bunch of drunk dumbasses. And I had to go backwards though and do that. And my first 2 years, it was just what was required. But it did take the stress off of me learning in the learning curve, because at least I was like covering my initial bills. And then eventually, as I became profitable, I just started to dwindle down my days more and more to the point where I would just work 1 or 2 days a week. But I'd still kind of have that. And I'd say really until I started coaching and like kind of replacing that income of like the 1 to 2 days and then building that's really when like my trading even took off more. Because I'm like, oh, cool. Like now I have extra income from this, and it's kind of making me trade from this better headspace, better mindset. And then all of a sudden, you develop as an entrepreneur and you get other income sources. And then you just don't be so attached to like, I need to win today. I need to make money today. Like, I can't tell you in the beginning how many times I struggled with that, where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make rent. I need this trade to work or I'm not going to make rent type shit. Credit card debt, all that type of stuff. Like I'm stoked because I know eventually when I am like a fucking millionaire and like I've like made it, quote unquote. For reference too, I literally just had my first 6-figure year working for myself last year. So,
That's huge.
Thank you.
In your first or second year of doing it, right? Isn't this your second year since you quit the job?
No, I quit my job in 2019.
Okay, so 4 years into
Yeah,
it. Still.
4 years.
Still.
Yeah, 4 years. Took me some time. But I grinded, just like scraping by, eating shit and stuff. And this is the thing a lot of people don't talk about too. Just because you're profitable doesn't mean like you have a brand new Lotus. Like, it's like, it's just because you're profitable, like you could, it's still a really great achievement, but being profitable like means like, cool, like, you're making money. It might not be insane. Like literally I was doing like 2, 3, 4 grand a month. And like, it was just enough for me to like cover my bills at the time until eventually, like now it's pretty consistent with trading where I do like roughly at least 5 figures a month, like about $10,000 a month. And there's still room to grow, obviously, right? It's like, that's the beauty of what we do, is there's no cap to it. You can just keep getting better and better because it's a skill. And it's a skill that no one can take from you because you just keep developing it and developing it. But if you trade from a place of scarcity, or like, I need to make this, I need to do this, it just makes it so much harder on yourself. So definitely a huge advocate of having other sources of income, growing those, and you just ultimately will trade better over time because you just gain the experience.
I think I lost, I'm so biased to this advice of like, go make other money, because like when I got into trading, everyone was like, don't do that. Spend all your money in a personal brokerage account and lose and then figure it out, which is really shitty advice. You know what I'm saying? Who here's like, I want to just receive your feedback on this point specifically. Who's finding it refreshing, exciting to have permission to go make other money other than trading and still call yourself a trader? Super cool. I'm glad to hear that. Break free of the bullshit. That's the whole theme of the seminar. And it's bullshit to think you're a trader, you have one stream of income. Even the biggest guys. You don't think they also have other ways of making money? Lance and all those guys that you like? Of course they do.
That's the hard part too, is a lot of those guys, they're in real prop firms. Like, if we're talking about like prop firm space, like talking about like where they sit next to each other on a desk in the same building, right? Like a real
Not a funding company.
Yeah, not a funding company, right? So it's very different because all those guys come in at like, 21 years old out of college and stuff, and that's just what they're taught to do, and that's all that they do, and they're trained, highly skilled to just do that. But we're not in that same boat. We don't have those same resources. And like one thing I do like love that Lance always talks about, he said literally the learning curve for him takes, and this is like obviously one of the best traders to this day, took him 2 full years of losing and eating shit at a prop firm with all the best resources, surrounded by people making millions of dollars every day. And it still took him 2 full years of trying. And so when you're in year 1 or year 2 or year 3 or year 4 or year 5,
On
and
your
you're still
own.
struggling, like, why do you expect to be at that level if you don't have those resources? It's just going to take you a bit longer. So that's the question too. Everyone's like, when do you become profitable? When does it happen? It's not a set thing, and you cannot compare your journey to someone else's because there's too many factors involved.
I hate that whole conversation.
I
Of, are
hate
you a
it.
profitable trader? Well, I took a payout last month, but I lost money today. So how would you read that?
Exactly. And
I'll
it's
show
like-
you a TradeZella
Yeah.
that shows green.
Yeah.
Am I profitable?
Yeah.
Well, how much money did I actually make?
Yeah.
And versus how much did I spend? Great points. We're going to move into the next section unless anybody has any more questions on mindset and performance. Yes.
He didn't trade from a place of scarcity. He actually was already very successful with his business before. I think he was already worth over 7 figures before you took that payout. So
It takes money to make
it takes
money.
money to make money. But to be fair, I think he lost I think he told me over $200,000 trying to learn how to trade. Most of you can't stomach obviously losing that because you don't have, we don't have the capital. Some of us don't have that to do that. But that's the thing, is like he wasn't afraid in that sense. He failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. But then he was just like, all right, let me get disciplined with it. Let me not stress it. Respect my max loss days. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. He literally just traded opening range breaks. It's so funny. Like so many people are like, what's his magic sauce? I'm like, he's just disciplined.
Copy
in-
trading too. He's
Yeah.
copy trading.
Copy trading, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like leverage.
Was he
but
doing
yeah,
20
that's it.
accounts?
20 accounts.
Yeah, so just divide it by 20. That makes things smell, and it's just a lot more palatable that way.
For
right?
sure.
Divided by 20, but that's still killer.
Killer.
Right?
Yeah, rinse and repeat.
He's
And-
probably taking gains because he doesn't need the money. So he's like, cool,
Yeah.
win. Especially with Apex because of their trailing drawdown. He's probably like, win, win, win. Because with Apex, you can't let a winning trade turn against you, basically, right?
his best days were never more than like $2,000, $2,700.
Snag, see ya. Snag, see ya.
Across 20 accounts, obviously, but yeah.
This is the thing. You want those big returns, and we are all thinking they come in a day. They don't. They don't. They don't. You have big days. Michael Reese has had some big days, but your big gains have come week over week after compounding those green days. It's not usually you're down 100 grand on the 29th of the month, and then boom, 101,000 on the next day, and you're profitable now. You see me what I'm saying? Same thing for, what was his name?
Min beer.
Yeah, Min Beer. Cool. Who else? Yes. Blue Chew, Trojan. How'd you know? Art of the deal. I got you now. Art of the deal. You get with companies, you get with people. Business is all about who you know. Certain companies will do, like I have a lot of my stuff is all commissions. So I take up and downs, right? But when I first started doing affiliate stuff, I took salary. I wanted to get a fixed fee. How do you do that? Art of the deal. You got to talk to people, get in a meeting, ask, be willing to take no's, be willing to push back and get your way as much as you can. Find a middle ground. I'm a big deal maker. So if you like me and I like you, we're going to work together in some way. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Whether there's prop firms that don't even pay people commissions, they only do salary, like those types of deals are going to be very unique. But if you're first starting out in it, don't start a YouTube channel and expect to make money on YouTube ads. Like do the research in what you're doing so you know it's going to be financially rewarding for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I think people think you just start a YouTube channel and you just run ads and make money. I don't even run ads, but I make a lot of money off of YouTube. You get what I'm saying? So you got to figure it out. You got to play the game a little bit. You guys got any advice on that?
Back to the process, right? Everything like I preached on. So for me, growing in this space of like influence, I guess you could say, whenever I make a reel or like make content or whatever, it is, Gary Vee says it's the oxygen to your business, right? And so I don't see direct ROI on it. Like I built my Instagram over years and years and years, and literally until probably the past like year, I would say, like I was barely making any money off making all these videos and doing all this stuff over time. But then once I started to see a little bit of a return, I'm like, oh my God, it's just about literally making the videos and doing the work. And there's tons of videos that flop, don't do well and stuff like that. But like that is the process of like, okay, I got to create. As entrepreneurs, we have to create. You cannot consume. You have to create things. And so whatever it is, whatever business, videography is a great one, How do you film something good? How do you work on this edit? How do you do this? Whatever it is. It's like you have to get obsessed with like, okay, I checked that box towards that thing today. It didn't directly lead to an ROI instantly, but eventually it's building my reputation, it's building my brand, it's building whatever it is, and that's how you grow in that sense.
If there were, Joey, I'll let you go. If there was like something I could tell you like that takes time, like he's saying, it's YouTube. But I know people that have started a Fiverr little thing, and they're doing executive work for people, organizing emails, doing spreadsheets for them, and they're making $3, $4, $5 a month. No college degree needed, no prerequisites needed, because there's that much demand for work on Upwork and Fiverr and things like that. So if you just shift the mindset to like, I'm gonna be a digital nomad basically, and be able to work from anywhere, because trading falls in that bucket, you're gonna be able to find something that maybe doesn't require as much of a commitment to process as he's talking about. What you're talking about is very valuable. It's the thing that you keep forever. The thing you do for these people like I'm talking to you about right now, it's a little short-term job, but for some people that's better than what they're currently doing. Michael, yeah, and then Joey. Yeah, like tell ChatGPT you broke your foot and it's gonna laugh at you for saying you're a videographer. Yeah. Oh, it's hard. It's super hard.
Yeah, I got you there. So I think the important part of that is having the other income, right? That way you don't have to rely on the income that's going up, down, sideways, right? You're not reliant on that. You don't have to feel the emotion from that because you have something different. It's just like trading, right? We just got done talking about not having trading as like your only source of income, right? Having something else takes the pressure off trading. And so that applies to what you're asking. When you have a side hustle or whatever it is that fluctuates in income, having that other option takes the stress and the mental capital away from the one that fluctuates quite a bit and isn't like the same every month. Yeah, it's just like look at it like it's there, but you have this.
If I gave you
right?
10 grand, would you care about your sim losses? Like if I deposited $10,000 into your paycheck account today and you lost $500 in a sim account, would you care? Exactly. That's what so you want to have something that's like it handles the psychology for you because it's there. It's consistent. Good.
Yeah, I think it also just comes down to living below your means. If I made $20,000 last
True.
month, doesn't mean I'm making that next month. So let me just go spend $15K on rent. That next month it might be 5 or 10. So good thing I made 20 last month, which is going to fluctuate. But if you're not overspending or like following that's just going to keep on trending upwards. Ideally it does, but it's going to stay consistently upward. Then yeah, you want to be able to afford slowness. And if you're not, then you're going to stretch yourself thin, which is going to probably not help the case at all.
Great point. I had my biggest month ever prior to last month in 2020. So you talk about entrepreneurship and like the ups and downs. I've been doing fine, but my biggest month that I've been chasing did not happen again until last month. So like for me, I think Evan hit the nail on the head. But I would also say it's like I got stubbornly lucky. People started coming to me about trading because no one knew what trading was, and I like became a trading coach like accidentally. So then the business formed around it because I was having so much demand. But think about it from a perspective of problem solving. I was, in a way, creating the oxygen, creating the content, showing people on Instagram and Snapchat back then what trading was, and I was solving their problem even though I wasn't profitable because I was giving them a way out. And when I learned more about sales, I was like, you're not selling a product, you're selling a vision, you're selling a dream. That's what sales is. You sell feelings, not things. You know what I'm saying? So when I realized I was selling emotional things that you can't really touch, I was like, I don't have to be super successful, Mike Bellafiore. I don't have to do that to still call myself a trading coach and create a business. Am I going to get haters and people being like, what's your P&L? Yeah. You think I can't handle that to make my family and me free? Come on. Believe, right?
Another thing I want to add to that that's outside of the monetary aspect of that. So if you're going to build something that can fluctuate, let's just take affiliate stuff as an example, right? We all create content, okay? When we're creating content about something we love and we like to talk about, right? You really want to get down and like have an idea, but throw rocks at it, right? Get real deep into what it is that you're going to do and build, and are you going to enjoy that, right? If you're going to create videos, okay, what videos are you going to create? But in those videos, what do you enjoy talking about? Is it teaching? Is it
like where's the
entertainment?
passion?
Yeah, make sure you have that passion behind what it is you're going to do. Otherwise, it's just going to
Short-lived. Yeah. Good point. Great point. Did you want to say something, Isaac?
No, I mean, to answer your question, the biggest thing you want to get to quickly is build a 24-month cushion as fast as you can, right? Having that 24-month cushion, it gives you a lot of empowerment. Then you want to live below your means. right? I drive a Lotus instead of a Ferrari because it's just smarter to do right now. And also Porsches are better than Ferraris. So
Quote
I'd
of
buy
the
a Porsche.
day.
But right, it's just like you do have to live below your means, because I've been in a position where you have a $10,000 month and then you're at Mayer's looking at Rolexes that cost $30,000, and it's just like, okay, this is
And then they think you're poor because you're not looking at the 60Ks.
Exactly. And just don't focus, like, do what makes you happy, right? I'll tell you all the cheesy things. Do the things that you're good at. Do the things that you thrive in. One of my favorite mentors of all time, Dr. Nathaniel Woods, Nate Woods, he told me, he's like, Isaac, if you focus on serving others, servant leadership, and solving problems, the money and or the titles that you want will chase you down. You won't be able to keep them away. My business outside of trading is business optimization. So I take businesses and companies and projects and products across all different lines of business, and I find ways to make them better. That's how Go to Isaac came about, because if you need to fix something or you need to figure something out, what do? You go to Isaac, right? So, you can give me just about anything, and I'm always, even if it doesn't need improvement, I'm gonna be like, how can we make this better? That's what I'm constantly thriving to do, and you gotta take the same approach with your life and every facet of your life.
That's why he's a good trader, because that's an
100%.
entrepreneurial mindset right there.
To back that as well, one of my mentors always told me it's all about the people. So especially in the restaurant industry, it's all about people. So it's like, if you can find ways to help others, serve others, and you give them more value than you gain, like it's inevitable that you won't be successful in it. You just gotta. I have this huge canvas above my couch that says keep going, because you gotta just keep going.
I think you can be passionate, like Joey said too, about something else, like basketball. We were talking about basketball, right? And make money off of building a brand in basketball and still be a trader. Like, you don't have to become me or any of these guys. Like, I would recommend against that, to be honest.
For me, trading is like going to the gym. Like, it's a part of the day, right? And just like the gym, maybe not Tanner, it's probably why I don't deadlift 720, but I try to get out of the gym as fast as I can, right? I try to leave the office as fast as I can. So I try to get out of the trade environment as fast as I can. Like, it's not my life. It's not even my business. I tell people, I'm like, people are like, oh, you crush it. You make a killing as a trader. And I'm like, it's not even a third of my total income because of everything else that I have going on. But at the same time too, I don't do anything that I hate anymore. Sure, Zoom calls are annoying. Meetings with assholes are annoying, right? Like,
how are we gonna meet?
We live close to one another.
True.
But it's like, you gotta do what you love, right? And it just can't be trading.
Who thinks their passion is trading? All right, good. Because I would say most people are not passionate about trading, but they can make a lot of money from trading. So now, when you answer that question, what are you passionate about? That's where I would go first.